All right, so today we're going to talk about Pappy Van Winkle, the unicorn of bourbon. I'm going to go over a little bit of the history of it, and then I'm going to give you some of Sarah's opinions. So Stitzelweller, that is who created the original Pappy Van Winkle. In the middle of the last century, Stitzelweller was a distillery that used Kentucky wheat in their mash bill instead of rye. One of the first mass-produced ones in Kentucky, so it was very different from anything else on the market out there at the time. It creates a softer, more approachable, smoother drinking whiskey, so it became very, very popular. When whiskey started to wane a little bit in popularity, the Stitzelweller distillery went defunct, and Van Winkle was one of the owners of that distillery, so he was able to get all of the barrels out of that distillery, and he sat on them for a really long time. Now, when he decided to put it back on the market, this was Stitzelweller juice that was in those barrels, and so they won a ton of awards, mainly because that wheated whiskey was something that wasn't popular at the time, and so it drank so smoothly and people really loved it, and so it won a ton of awards, and that was really when people started to acknowledge Pappy Van Winkle as a whiskey. Now, I'm going to go into my opinion as to why I think this whiskey is so popular and so in demand. This started out really, I think, as an industry whiskey, so a handshake, if you will. Most anything that comes out of great popularity a lot of the time starts in restaurants, and this was a chef whiskey. If you were a chef in Kentucky especially, you were drinking Pappy Van Winkle, and if you went into a bar and you ordered Pappy Van Winkle, most of the bartenders knew that you were in that industry, and so it sort of became a handshake whiskey. And I think personally that is how it got so popular. People started scooping it up, and there was very limited amounts of it, and so they started to run out. And eventually the Van Winkle family needed to make more, so they went to the Buffalo Trace Distillery, which is who makes Pappy Van Winkle now. All those whiskeys that won all those awards were actually Stitzelweller juice, not Buffalo Trace juice, but that's who's making it now. They're using the original recipe. They're even making the Weller, which is actually the same juice as Pappy Van Winkle. It's just not cared for and babied the same way. So this stuff is aged longer. It's in the best part of the warehouse. It gets the most sun or the least amount of sun, depending on what they want. And it's blended to make Pappy Van Winkle. So we don't have Pappy Van Winkle because it's really hard to find. We do, however, have Weller, and that's what we're going to be doing and featuring next week. Weller, again, it is the exact same juice. It's the wheated bourbon. It's still delicious. It's still smooth. It's still super approachable. And this one is 107 proof, and it's freaking delicious. You'll love it.